Hey, what's up, Raz? Hey, Terrell. Looks like this bottle cap broke on me. Steven, this is the Jean Grey Sideshow Premium format. The one of the recent ones. Yeah, she's getting there. I mean, if you're asking to try to get yourself a copy of the head, you'd have to buy the statue. It's not a 3D file, but it's in perfect scale with this Vampirella. So, hey, what's up, Raccoon? Hey, what's up, Renton? Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. I try and post as many repairs as I can, but some of them I just got to get done and out the door. Some of them are a lot of the same repairs over and over, so I try not to do the same video all the time. Oh yeah, if the factories are very cheap, believe it or not, and they will cut as many corners as they possibly can to get the statues out the door. And I guess a lot of companies figure that if they sell like say they sell 1,000 statues and like 20 are like returned, or 100 are returned, it's not that much of a loss. If it's like the whole product line is completely destroyed, that's a different story. But I'm pretty sure a lot of these statue guys realize there's going to be at least, 20% damaged or returned or defective. So they just get away with like a couple of refunds or whatever. And then from what I understand too is a lot of the companies like Sideshow and stuff, they all, like, if they're gonna say they're gonna do I don't know, 1,000 statues, they probably do like maybe 1,200, I think, and they use like extra 200 for repairs and replacements. But that's kind of like the norm. Terrell, are you using the gel or are you using regular BSI? And why are you using BSI with oh wait, you're using epoxy, not the glue. Are you using this stuff? If I still have my bottle. Are you using this stuff? Yeah, don't use that stuff. I try never to use that two-part epoxy with any brand, whether it's BSI or like the stuff you get at Home Depot, like the Gorilla two-part or whatever. The reason why I don't use that stuff is because one, you see how you're having a reaction to it, and two, I've seen that two-part epoxy stuff that people used to use back in like around 2006. Like 3 years later, that stuff starts to break down and starts to like leak. And also, if you do not mix that stuff precisely, it does leak over time. So honestly, whenever I need to use some kind of a glue, I buy the ice gel, this gel glue stuff, and I buy this in the tube. You could get these on eBay for like 5 tubes for like $30. This stuff I've never seen react to like two-part resin or anything. This stuff is my go-to for gluing anything. That epoxy stuff, stay away from it. I only use it very, very randomly, and only when I know it's going to be encased in an item. Like, say I'm working on a large statue that's hollow, and I need some kind of like bond in there to kind of like drip it in to bond it. I'll use that stuff. But I like it. Like, say I have to, say like you have to glue this hand into here. I will use that gel glue instead, because that two-part epoxy stuff, it stays very tacky for a very long time, and it'll leak over. Like, yeah, I honestly say stay away from it. Now, I know there's guys in the hobby that say that's all they use, but honestly, I've never had long-term success with that epoxy stuff. Like, I've seen people use it even on cars, like the two-part epoxy stuff for cars for like plastic stuff that breaks. And I've seen that stuff kind of just like deteriorate over time and leak. Yeah, I would honestly stay away from it. For as you might think you're getting more for your money, and you're like, oh, it's like more in a container, and you can get. Honestly, it causes more issues than spending money on the gel glue. The only downside with the gel glue is, if it does, say you do use it, like say you had to glue this arm together, and then you go to sand it down. So if there is some of that gel glue that's there, and then polystone, when you sand them together, the gel glue is like a lot harder and it doesn't sand as much. But if you're going to glue it in the inside and then fill it with Aves, this stuff is the best stuff to use. Brenton, the Bowen repaint, I don't know. It's best just to hit me up in an email to talk prices because I don't like talking prices over like chat and then people are like, oh, you said it was this price, because things change over time and every project is different, you know? So usually like stuff like that, it's best just to shoot me a, email or something and we can talk, I don't like to put prices and talk about it in chat because people will go, oh, well, this video you said 5 years ago would cost this, Plus, usually when I talk to people, sometimes people have like custom ideas they want to add into it or stuff like that. So it's always case by case for me. If anyone's wondering, I'm just doing trim right now because it's easier to mask my item once I get some trim down. Since they are blonde, I'm going to do like a dirty blonde for 7 of 9, but Harley's going to have a little bit more of a platinum blonde. But I'll go over the colors in a second or two. Try never to use yellow right out of the tube. Try to mix up yellow. How did I learn to sculpt hair? Just messing around with Aves and practicing day in and day out. When I discovered Aves, and I started doing customs and stuff back around the Bowen days, and then I started getting into the sideshow stuff, I started really wanting to figure out how to sculpt hair, and I just started doing it and practicing. So I used to be a graphic designer. When I would come home from work, I would kick off my shoes and just start sculpting and painting for about ever since I discovered the hobby. So I wasn't really going out to like bars or clubs or I stopped doing all that crap. And I just was sculpting every single night. Hey, what's up, Wells? Yeah, it's just practice. It's just trial and error and practice and just non-stop, And then also studying hair and also studying other people's sculpts and just trying like different stuff all the time. I mean, I still practice these days, and I'll share a head sculpt I finished. I wanted to practice some sculpting the other night, I got done, and I didn't feel like closing up shop, but I really didn't feel like working on anybody's commissions anymore. So I decided to try my hands at a different type of Power Girl hair sculpt. So I'm probably gonna paint this up and throw it up on eBay. But so this is the exclusive Power Girl hair. So what I did is I decided to try to chop it up, and I created a different hair sculpt for her with a. I found like a 1950s hairstyle, so that's kind of like what I did. So I wanted to try something with like a little bit of a, I forgot what these are called, and then try this. So yeah, I just wanted to try something different. So it was just an experiment. Yeah, it's based off 1950s, I think, style. The Black Lantern one, yeah, that one came out pretty good. That one was a lot of flowing. That was kind of like one of my first. The Black Lantern ones was like one of my first really like sculpting from scratch type thing. So I'm doing some more. Like you can see, like this is a Power Girl blank head that I filled up the back of the skull. So I'm gonna try to do my own like hair flow on this one. Whenever I'm in the mood late at night and I'm kind of done, I try to keep practicing. The key for me is, since Aves dries in like what, 3 hours, it kind of cures up. It's like build and sculpt in sections instead of trying to sculpt the whole hair in one shot. You know, sculpt like this section, sculpt that section, build this piece up, and you just keep building it little by little each day, and it works easier than trying to force it all in one shot. My favorite hair sculpt was the Velma hair I did, because that was kind of like one of my first like really whatchamacallit, short hair sculpts that I really kind of dove into with, and I think that one's my favorite. I don't use Magic Sculpt anymore because Magic Sculpt seems to like dry up on me a lot faster, and it's very hard to work with it. So I really don't use Magic Sculpt that much anymore. I pretty much only use Aves. It got to the point where the only thing I was using Magic Sculpt for was like putting kits together. Like if if I'm gonna re-sculpt this neck, but I need to put this neck inside the body, I would put a rod in there, and I would put Magic Sculpt around the rod and let it cure. And then the next day I would build Aves and do the detail. Um, Magic Sculpt's not very like, it's not like soft like Aves. When you first mix it together, it's very very hard. And it doesn't really, there's no like chemical to really soften it up, from what I know. And I never tried Eve safety solvent on it because I didn't know if the solvent would ruin it. So I pretty much just don't buy Magic Sculpt anymore. Because if you go to Aves' website and you go to their red section, like when you buy the 4 pound container of red, so if you buy the 4 pound container of the red, it's usually on sale. So for regular Aves, it costs like, I think they're around like $45 or $50 now for a 4 pound kit. If you buy the red though, it's usually marked down to like 35, and it's the color I use, and it's cheaper than Magic Sculpt, really almost, you know. And I could do more with it. So all I do right now is I just stock up on Abe's whenever they have their like 10% off sales. Magic Sculpt was good in the beginning when I was doing a lot of customs where I would like I had a lot of body parts and I was trying to fit body parts together, but I never used it to sculpt anything really. I'm pretty much pretty much just using A's right now and freeform air, but freeform air is to fill stuff in though. Like if like this chair is hollow and you don't want to fill it in with resin, and you want to just fill it in with like something like a foamish type. Freeform air is great to fill this in. So that's kind of where I'm at with my materials now. I think my last straw with Magic Sculpt was I had it sitting in my drawer for about 3 months, and when I went to go use it, it was like mixing together like tar. I mean, it was so hard to mix it that I just said it's not worth it because Abe's lasts a lot longer. So. Cast stuff? You mean the stuff you break your like your arm and fingers with? I use that stuff once in a while too. So for example, let's see, what did I do? When I filled this one in, I had I had a lot of resin when I was working on this one. So I put that casting stuff in here because I used it for something else. So that the casting filled this in, but not like really filled it in. And then I poured resin in here, and the resin seeped down around the casting and filled it in. And then therefore it's like solid now. But you can use the casting for filler, but the problem is it doesn't really you still got a lot of air bubbles in there. So it doesn't really fill it in that good. But the casting stuff is good though for certain things. Like I worked on my Bombshell Power Girl statue and her arm wraps. I wanted to use the casting for to make it look like actually wraps around her arm. But the problem is when I opened up the container, that whole row was going to go bad. But I had a base that I was filling in, so I used the rest of the casting to fill it in, and then I poured resin in there, and it filled it all in. So you could use it as a filler, but it's not the most cost-effective filler out there. But it's good for filling hollow stuff, I mean, the best filler, in my eyes, like if you really want a stable filler and not it's usually 2-part resin as long as the whatever you're filling in can handle the heat. Yeah, the cave troll is a perfect example. That was a good way of sort of filling it in. But I've come to the conclusion of a lot of fillers, no matter what you use, they almost come out to the same amount of money depending on what you're filling in. So if you mix freeform air and you shove it in here, so you're going to use about this much freeform air. And then if you're going to use 2-part resin, you're going to use about that, and it's almost the same cost for a gallon kit of freeform air versus a gallon kit of 2-part resin. It's just that the freeform air will actually be a little bit lighter than the 2-part resin. But also, Smooth On makes a foam, a two-part foam. So it looks like resin when you mix it together, but then what it does is it foams up. So if you have like a really, really big hollow item, like someday if I ever get like a really big hollow item, like something really big and I want to fill it in, I'm going to buy that two-part foam from Smooth On. I'm going to try it out and see how it works. Because from what I understand, like big hollow heads, like, you know, those monster hollow heads, they said that like that two-part foam, you pour it in, so it goes to the bottom of the head, and then it starts to foam up top. And then when it gets up top and it fills over, you got to kind of build like a wall. You can saw it off, you know. It's better than that canned stuff you get at Home Depot for your walls, from what I hear. It's just expensive. Yes, if your item is really, really like paper thin, there's two problems with like any of this filler. Um, if you use like Wells said, the great stuff you get at Home Depot, if you don't have a good expansion hole or like airflow to push the stuff out, what'll happen is it will actually start to expand and you can pop your item. I've learned my lesson the hard way when I was working on a hollow kit back in the day, and I filled it in, and then what happened is it didn't let the foam and air escape, so it cracked the item because it was really paper thin. Um, so what I did with one item, I think it was that old Thanos kit I did back in the day. It was really paper thin. So what I did is I made two-part resin and I poured it in the item, but I rotocasted the Thanos. So a lot of the resin went around the walls, and I actually thickened up the inside of it, and then I filled it in with foam. So that's something to consider. Like, you really want your item to be like fairly thick before you pop like anything that can expand in there and break it. If it's like eggshell thin, it'll probably just pop. So just me personally, like if I'm gonna do something, I want it to be solid and durable. So if I get a hollow kit for somebody or a custom or something, and you know, if they're okay with me just doing it hollow, I'm like fine. But if it's something for myself, I'll spend the extra money and I'll fill it in. I'd rather have a solid piece than something hollow because if you go back on my YouTube channel, there was this old Flash bust. It was a bust, a custom guy did these busts, and he rotocasted it, and I never filled it in. And what happened was, 2 years down the line, I went and looked on my shelf, and it was all cracked. Because what happens is, because it's hollow, and I didn't fill it in, it expands and contracts, and all the paint cracked. So I asked him, and I was still new to the hobby pretty much, and I asked him, I said, why is this cracking? He's like, well, you never filled it in. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you gotta fill it in with foam. I'm like, I didn't know that. And sure enough, that's why it cracked on me. So I redid it. So I filled it in, and then I redid it, and then I sold it. I actually burned through a gallon kit of resin this before we got really cold weather because I had a bunch of hollow stuff that I'm going to be working on down the line, and I had to buy resin for myself, and then I had to buy resin for a project. So I used some of that resin to fill in some of the hollow items, whatever was left. But of course, all those prices went up. It used to be like, for a gallon kit of Smooth On 300 Smooth Cast, used to be like, I think it was like $85 plus shipping, but now it's like almost $150 shipped now. So yeah, and the sad thing is you can't stock up on resin because it's got a shelf life. So you can really only buy it when you need it. But going forward, anytime I do my own personal 3D customs or prints, like I did with the Power Girl, or any stuff I plan on getting next year, like even when we start the Jessica Rabbits, I'm gonna have to pick up resin. I'm gonna fill those in because I want them to be solid. I just don't like hollow stuff. Hey, what's up, George? Appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by. Just doing some tedious stuff right now. It's usually just paint work. It's just tedious. Oh, you gonna see him? Yeah, I gotta get him his pyro kit. I just finished for him. That was actually his. I forgot to do her mask. I didn't have a chance to do anything this week, but I could at least get the hair done. Yeah, that pyro kit was funny. I was laughing my ass off when I said to him, and I go, "Why does your pyro kit have poopy pants?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" And I sent him the picture, and I was like, I just couldn't get over that. It was just so funny to me. I don't know why. I don't know. It was just weird to have poopy pants on the statue. Like, I don't know if the sculptor missed it, but from what I understand, like, what, two or three people worked on that sculpt, but nobody thought to, like, look at the poopy pants. He told me, he's like, "Yeah, you don't have to bother with it. No one's gonna see you." I go, "No, it's bothering the shit out of me." I go, "I don't like it." It's like, I can fix it. We might as well, because there's no sense in just leaving it alone. Yeah, it was just weird. It was just, I don't know. And stuff like that kind of irks me, you know? It's like, I'm working on the item for you. It's a really kind of messed up item because it wasn't like a casting error. So I was just like, let's just fix it. It's just bothering me. I'm like, I know you'll never really see him from behind at all, but I don't know. It just bothered me. It's just one of those things like, yeah, we're gonna fix this. I mean, that sculpt, that's part of a Facebook group, right? Like, I'm not on Facebook, so, but I guess there's like the Facebook groups. He didn't sell it. He just sent it to me to paint it for him. He bought it in the group, so. There's a lot of Facebook groups out there, I guess. I don't know if you, I think some of them you need invites for, you need somebody to get you in, or stuff like that, I think. I don't really know. I just paint the items. I did the kit review, so it's probably on the in the kit review about on the bottom of the base. It's probably the sticker, but usually by the time I do a review on them and I paint them, they're long sold out. So you'd have to find somebody like on Facebook selling their kit or their item for a huge markup. Well, not everything's marked up now. A lot of stuff's kind of hard to sell. Yeah, putting the flames on the base was his idea because he didn't want them sitting in the box. So he just wanted me to drill two little holes in there, but I put the flame cracks on the base for him for the hell of it. I figured it would look kind of cool. Yeah, usually if there's an item being made and somebody or one of my friends says, "Hey, are you interested in it?" They're usually in the group and they'll let me know ahead of time, and I could tell them if I'm interested in it. They'll get it for me, but I'm not actually in the groups to know what's going on. So I'm not much help either. I just the guy We Are Collectors on Instagram. He posts like every sculpt that's being made or a sculptor that's doing something for their portfolio. So usually he's the guy to kind of contact if you're looking to find out how to get one. If you don't know his channel, I'll link it in chat. Um, he's a really nice guy, and I've even asked him a couple times, like, "Hey, where can I get this?" And he usually tells me, "Oh, it's long sold out," or "This is the guy's email address," or something like that. So he sort of knows his what's going on. Yeah, a lot of the unboxing stuff too, but a lot of that stuff by the time you see unboxed, it's long sold out. You know, it's just it's way long sold out. 'Cause a lot of this stuff takes like 2-3 years to come out sometimes. Yeah, I think that's where I'm going too. Well, is just kind of start doing some 3D prints and start customizing those. I'm definitely gonna try my hand at that more now. Since trying to find damaged stuff or cheap sideshow stuff is kind of not really like what it used to be anymore. Plus, there's so much 3D shit out there, it's crazy. Now, We Are Collectors posts a lot of scopes. Now, not all those scopes are being produced. I think there are also just a lot of like, you know, sculptors, portfolio pieces too. So I'm not saying everything he posts is going to be made, but most of the time they are. Yeah, but he's a great channel to follow on Instagram. Every day there's something new being posted, just about. The big thing now is everything is venomized. I even saw one this morning. There's a Thanos kit that's venomized, so there's Venom Thanos now. So that's kind of the thing. Like that's even in comics, everything is venomized. So everybody and their mama and Marvel are now venomized, along with in the comics and in statues. Hey, what's up, Iceman? The zombie stuff is popular in DC right now, I think, because they're doing that whole DC deceased, and I guess they're adding these like deceased characters in all those zombie games on the iPad. So I think DC is kind of in the whole zombie thing right now. Well, if you follow any like I follow a lot of the comic books coming out, like all the covers on various sites, and everybody's venomized. Even like She-Hulk's been venomized, and all this other stuff. So yeah, I could see that happening, Terrell. I think someone did a venomized Batman too, if I'm not mistaken. So they kind of crossed it over. Somebody did. I need to fix up some. Thought I had some stuff fixed. Guess I don't. All right, we're gonna Sorry, camera died. This camera looks like I'm gonna have to replace the newer camera and put the newer camera on this one and get rid of this camera because this one doesn't seem to be working that well anymore. Oh well, where did I leave off? Anyway, alright, so I did some of the burnt was the raw sienna on there, so I'm going to go back to the lighter yellow. That's good. Sorry, I got my back to the screen, so when the camera goes to hell, I don't notice unless I'm at the desk. But anyway, alright, so we got that. So I'm going to water down some of the raw sienna a bit. And then I do have a transparency brown. This is a brown tint. I'm going to put 2 drops in here just to see if I can get a little bit of a darker shade. Iceman, no, we didn't really ask anyone else yet. We're toying around with the idea of maybe just printing out the torso of the character and then the legs of a different character, and then I resculpt sort of I kind of added on my own way to him. So we're trying to come up with some other options. It's not something that's got to be done like tomorrow. This is something we're planning for like next year down the line. So, you know, If we find a pair of legs that fit the torso, we'll probably maybe just swap it that way. But it's also Christmas time. Everyone's crazy, so it's kind of we were just kind of brainstorming for something. That's all we were really doing. Usually, whenever I ask people and stuff, because I didn't want you to get the idea, I was like, "Hey, we got to get this done tomorrow." It's just something that we were thinking for down the line. Alright, so I'm going to do some dry brushing. I try not to do too much dry brushing on hair if I can help it, but sometimes you can't do it with the airbrush that much. So I'm always still using those two colors. The light yellow one I was working with and the raw sienna. I'm trying to really dry brush it too, so I'm using a paper towel to sort of, I don't want to glob it on. Yeah, if we haven't figured it out in a few months, we'll hit you up again. It's kind of like I said, we're just brainstorming, trying to figure out what he wants to do, what I want to do, how to go about it. We'll figure it out whether we need you or if we go a different route. You know. So this is a Titan buff, which kind of is an off-white. So instead of just using pure white, mix a little bit of this color into your yellows and your hair color. Try to stay away from white, and try to stay away from like anything that's got a purple, a blue, or green, like burnt umber. That's too. It's got too much of a darker color that'll kill your yellow. Hey, what's up, Hanger? Alright, so try to also kind of pick your highlight areas too. So if you think like the highlight will come around this section here, you kind of hit a little bit of the lighter color in those areas. So you make this part pop, but that's still a little bit darker. Then you can kind of hit this part right here. And so you come back onto the back of the hair. same thing. So you figure if the highlights are gonna hit this area here more, and then maybe a little bit here, and a little bit going down. So you got that darkness in there, and it's sort of, you know. Alright. Still not done yet. So what we'll do next is just go back to this brown. This brown tint. I used to have the Garage Kits leather, transparency leather, which was a great transparency, but since that's gone, I'm kind of using this brown tint now. So what I want to do is sort of darken up some of this area a bit. Not too much, very lightly. Alright, so kind of like we're at. So this is kind of highlighted here, and this is a little bit darker, and then it's kind of highlighted there. And I kind of like the way that looks. So what I want to do next is a little bit of a pearl. So this is a pearlized gold. Now, this Auto Air used to have a really, really amazing pearlized gold, but they changed up the formula. So when I bought the bottle, all the gold was down here, and all this white gook was up here. And then whenever I sprayed it, like, it wouldn't mix correctly. So what I did is I poured out all that white gook that was here, and I had a little bit of the pearl left. And that's kind of what I got this bottle to where it is now. But it used to be, this is sort of left of, no, that's not, so you can kind of see here. See, this is another bottle I bought. See how all the pearl is down here and all this white gunk is up here? Like, they changed the formula where it used to be like a really amazing gold. They don't have it anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the water. I'm going to pour some of this gold in here. Yeah, I'm sure that's what they did, is they probably cut corners. I contacted the company and I asked them, I said, what happened to your gold? I go, it used to be like a really good, they're like, oh, we changed the formula and this is our gold here. And honestly, it sucks. It's not that gold like it used to be. It used to have that really crazy gold that would be perfect for like a Dark Phoenix statue. It was like that yellowish pearlized gold, and it was an amazing color. I used it on a lot of my past customs, but they don't make it anymore. But when the bottle I bought, though, I bought like a big can of it. So maybe it's in the can. I don't know. I'm going to have to call them again and see what's going on. I would love to find that yellow again. I have a little bit left. Yeah, it's in this bottle right here. I have a little bit left. So like you could kind of see how this gold is like really, really like yellowish gold, and it's really beautiful, but yeah, this is the only left of the bottle I have. Oh well. Alright, so I got some of that pearl, right? So it's still good enough for hair. So I just kind of like to mix a little bit of pearl into the hair. This gives it that like silky look. It's a little bit thick. That's right. Now, I try not to gloss the hair though. I try to just give it a silky look to it, right? Just get it in some areas, and then we're gonna go to a white pearl next. Alright, same thing. Put some water in here, and then this is a Create Wicked Colors pearl, white. So what I like to do is kind of hit the highlight areas. And that's pretty much it. You don't really have to go too crazy unless you really want it there. So with the pearl, it's sort of shiny, but not that shiny. So what I like to do afterwards is get some of the flat, oops, what the hell was that? Oh, sorry, hold on. This piece just fell out of my airbrush. I wonder what the hell that was. If you want it satin to have a little bit of a gloss, you can, but I try not to. So I just get some of the matte varnish and give it a nice coat. This way the pearl is there, but it's not like glowing at you. Unless you want it really glowing, you can do it that way if you want to hit like some satin in there. But for her, I don't want to do that. So then we get the blow dryer. No, it's not like the liquid gold. It's more of a pearlized gold. It's like a very pearlish. It looks it's a really nice pearl. The Liquitex is more of a metal. And then so make sure you save all your colors that you used. You know, or remember the colors you used just in case you scratch anything, or if you unmasked it correctly, or you know, you need to touch up a spot. But so it's kind of like a dirtier blonde hair in certain ways. So it's like I said, it's not try never to do pure yellow out of the bottle. I never heard of those wells. I'll have to check into them. So that's kind of a dirtier blonde hair, which I think works good for her. I'm like, yeah, it looks good. I'm happy with that. Alright, so on to Harley's hair. So Harley will paint a little bit different. Alright, I'm going to have to move the camera down. So we're going to see if we lose Yep, we kind of did. Yeah, this camera's on its last leg. Vallejo yellow sucks. I would suggest not using Vallejo yellow because it's so transparent color. If you want to mix some good yellows together, I'm gonna show you. If you want a yellow out of the bottle, the Citadel yellows and the P3 formulas are good, but if you have a golden dairy lied yellow, I can't, yeah, dire lied, whatever, and if you have this model color Vallejo, which is kind of like got a little bit of a white in it, so I kind of mixed all these yellows together and I sort of got this color, and this color is what I used for that pyro. So these colors right here are kind of good yellows to get. So I got my little yellow bottle, and this comes out pretty good and sprays on items. So it's not like a pure yellow, it's got a little bit of tint in there. Yeah, the Mecha Yellow is opaque, but I have a problem with it actually sticking onto an item. I do have this yellow here, but it's like out of the bottle, it's not. I don't like the color. It's kind of a mustardy yellow. I like using the P3 formula and the Citadel yellows better because those go over really nice. Yeah. If you get these golden fluid acrylics, which is sort of like it's not like tube acrylics. It's got a little bit of it's like soft body from Liquitex. You can use this into a bottle, right, and mix it with some water, and you can thin it down for the airbrush. So you can use this through an airbrush. You just got to thin it down with some water or something. And the same thing with the Citadels and P3 formulas. These are not airbrush ready, but if you mix it with a little bit of water into your airbrush, they go through the airbrush really nicely. All acrylics usually can be thinned down, so don't think you can't thin down an acrylic just because it's in a bottle or tube. You can even get Liquitex Basics, and you can thin these down into one of these mixing bottles, and you can use this through an airbrush too. Alright, so like this bottle is fairly thick right now. So if this is my 10% alcohol and rest water. So what you can do is you can just take some of this without making a mess, because I am making a mess right now all over my hand. So it's really thick. It's like globbing out of here. And then if you have a paintbrush, you can just sort of thin it down in your brush. Just kind of mix it like that. You don't have to scrape the hell out of your brush, you know, with the metal versus metal. Just let the bristles sort of, you can sort of thin it down. Oh, it's because the cap is stopping it. That's why. This, like I said, this thing broke on me. Yes, I did mix all those acrylics into one bottle. So yes, I did mix a P3 formula. I did mix the other stuff into one bottle. So you can do that. It's not, You know, a lot of people say, oh, you can't mix brands and blah, blah. If acrylic is acrylic, it'll mix. But if it's like enamels and lacquers into acrylic, it won't mix. I had an argument with a guy at Hobby Town. I told him I was buying some Spastex, and he's like, what are you using it for? And I said, oh, I'm painting statues. He's like, you can't use that on statues. I said, yes, you can. He's like, no, you can't. I said, I paint acrylics and enamels and lacquers all on the same statue. He's like, you can't mix them. I go, I'm not mixing them. I'm spraying them separate sections. And he is just arguing with me that I'm doing it wrong and you can't do that. I'm like, dude, just sell me the paint and leave me alone. I'm like, I've been doing this a long time. I know what I'm doing. And he just kept on saying I'm wrong. You can't do that. So, yeah. All these different Vallejo, P3 Formula, Citadel, Garage Kit colors, Vallejo, Golden, Liquitex, I can mix them all in one bottle. Yeah, you would have laughed, Iceman. It was kind of funny. I was like, dude, just sell me the paint. That's all I want. I don't care whether you think you know what you're doing or not. I just want my paint. But it was actually, it was, you know, this is the kind of luck I have when I go out to places. Like, he was arguing with me that I was doing it wrong. I was actually laughing my ass off. I'm like, alright, dude, whatever. No, you can't. Trust me. If you only knew the type of luck I have when I go out, it's hilarious. I think he also told me that I can't use Duplicolor on statues either. He's like, you can't use Duplicolor primer on statues. And I was like, what? Well, I'm at the point now where I know what colors from every brand I like. So that's why I have a lot of different brands, because I like this color from that brand, this color from that brand, and so on and so forth. So I've gotten to the point now where it's all about the specific color that I like using. Well, that's the thing. He didn't own the shop. He was just a lackey. No soup Nazi look. He's just a regular looking dude, but he just was hell bent on telling me I was wrong. Yeah, that's kind of what it was like. I don't know. I was standing there in shock. He's like, "You're wrong. You can't do that." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, where did this come from? I think what it was, it's one of those guys that know everything, you know? Even though he probably doesn't paint, he just knows everything. And I tried cleaning this airbrush again, and it just didn't want to work. Oh yeah, he saw me. He's like, yeah, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Well, don't forget, Hobby Town is more for like remote control cars, trains, scenery builds. So when I said polystone statues, he must have thought I was doing like statues out in your garden or something. I don't know. But it's a good story. One of the many I have when I go out and just random stupid shit happens to me. Alright, we're using the new airbrush now. Because the old one just doesn't want to work anymore. I want to walk away, but I want to walk away with the paint I needed. Yeah, well, like today I thought today was going to be a nice normal day, catch up on work, and I went outside and I had a nail in the tire of my car. So the light came on, I had low pressure. So sure enough, I had to deal with that in the morning. Cost $45 to have the tire patched. I was like, could I just have a nice and peace and quiet until after the new year? But nope. Yeah, it's my holidays. Yeah, you know what it is I remember one Christmas, me, my brother, cousin, we were out shopping at a mall, and we walk into one of the I think it was like Modell's or something, and I go up to the guy and I was like, "Excuse me," so he grabs me by my shoulder and he goes, "What do you want, man? What do you want?" And I'm like, and everyone's just laughing, and I'm like, why does this shit happen to me? Like, I'm just here to buy something, and I got weird people doing shit, so. Iceman saying happy holidays, that kind of brought back some memories. dumb shit. Always dumb stuff. Yeah, sometimes it feels like that. Sometimes it feels like I go through the same shit all the time anyway. You know, I actually, now that you mentioned like Turbo Man and shopping, I actually thought that shopping would be crazy this time of year. And when I was out today trying to, you know, when I got my tire repaired, like driving around wasn't like as much traffic as I thought there would be. Like everyone here, it seems like their cars are just in their driveway and no one's going out. So I guess either people did all their shopping online or nobody has any money to do shopping. I think it's more of nobody has any money to do anything. So I remember this time of year I would be off from work or out in the mall shopping. It would be a nightmare right now. Yeah, that's kind of funny you said that. We are broke and the groceries are more what people want. I bought eggs, bacon, and some sausage the other day, and it was like $30. Like when I went to the supermarket, and I was like, this shit used to cost like $15. Yeah, so for Christmas this year, I'm asking Santa for food. Yeah, it's getting crazy, man. My health insurance went up, my car insurance went up, my mortgage went up because of the taxes, and everything's gone up, and there's no breather anymore. So I'm actually scared to go to the supermarket. Even with the damn ShopRite code and you know, the digital coupons and all that, still ain't helping out. I tell you one thing though, supplies. Oh my God, art supplies. Holy crap! I went and bought a can of black Duplicolor paint. What you call it? This can right here. These used to cost $4.99 or $3.99, sometimes $3.50 if they were on sale. It's $18 a can now. It's insane. Oh yeah, me and my family, we stopped Christmas stuff a long time ago, but honestly, all we're doing this year for Christmas Eve is I'm going to go over to the butcher shop. We're going to get some New York strip steaks. We're going to grill steaks, and that's it. We're not doing any crazy dinner. We don't exchange gifts. I'm not going to be traveling every day to see my parents because it's just, with gas and tolls going up north, it's crazy now, so... Yeah, so I did a, I'll kind of explain what's going on here, so. Alright, so these cans right here, these primer, these used to be about $4 a can. Then when the lockdowns happened, the red oxide primer dried up because they couldn't get the chemicals for it or whatever, so these disappeared. And then these were all I could get. So I was on Amazon, I think it was in the beginning of the year, and they had 6-packs of these, right? They were, I think, almost $55 to $60 for a case, which is 6 cans. So I bought up like 8 cases. And then I found these on eBay about 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago, and they were like $50 for a 6-pack, and I needed to get these, so I got only one, which was the last in stock. But yeah, these, I used to be able to go into the auto parts store, and if they had like 5 of these cans, I'd be like, hey, I want to buy all 5, can you give me a manager's discount? And they would, but now they don't even carry them anymore. No, I don't use any of the enamels through my airbrush because it's too it's a little too risky. Because some of those I've in the past, I tried that and it ate the O-ring in the inside of the airbrush because it's really potent. Like, enamels that are made for the airbrush are different for like these airbrushes, but I think if you try and use those cans, it kind of screws them up. Plus, they dry so fast. Those car paint cans, they're made to, once they start hitting oxygen, to start curing up. So if you put them into your airbrush and you try to mix them and all that, it kind of gets a little bit too funky. So, but yeah, everything has gone up now. So sadly, you have to get with the times, and I hate having to raise prices on people, but the supplies have just skyrocketed. And you're right, there is no sales anymore, so haven't been able to find any like sales on paints or anything. Even the glue and everything is just too damn expensive. Sure, rub it in. Oh, and just to let you know, I'm doing that Titan Buff highlights on her hair because I want her hair to be a little bit more platinum blonde than actual yellow. I don't like doing Harley's hair like pure yellow out of the bottle. I like to give it this lighter look to it. But I like to have some of that darker in their hair so it kind of feels like it's got a dirty blonde to it in a sense. But if you ever want to yellow up her hair though some, which I could show you, we will do. So if you have a transparency yellow, so this is a transparency yellow from Freakflex. So you want to give it a little bit of yellow tint, you could kind of go into the darker areas a bit. Yeah, if you can, I mean, I go through a lot of primer, so I decided that when I found that gray primer on Amazon, I picked up a whole bunch of cans while I could. Just said screw it, I'm gonna get them while I can, because it's only gonna go up again in price. So, all right, we're gonna do some watered pearlized with white on her hair. And I'm missing the whole hair. Now for her hair, I'm gonna mix some satin and varnish together. But like her hair is not really yellow; it's got a kind of more of a lighter now. So take some satin. This bottle's empty. I gotta grab the other one. So half and half satin, half matte. That should be pretty good. I do not like Rust-Oleum because if you get this can, if you get this can of Rust-Oleum 2-can primer, this one, this is not sandable. So if you spray this on an item, this is a one-time spray and that's it. So if it comes up like very, whatchamacallit, like grainy, or if you need to sand down the item, doesn't sand very well, and it actually starts to like cake up on your. It takes like a week or two for this to actually really cure. They do make a sandable primer, but even then, that stuff seems to cause like issues. And also like Krylon sandable primer, I'm not really a fan of it, so I stick to Duplicolor. I'd rather get quality paint than this stuff. The Rust-Oleum to me is more of a something that's like an outside project. You're going to paint up a lawn chair or a piece of metal for your outside, garden or, whatever. For statue-wise, I don't like the Rust-Oleum stuff because even their sandable stuff, like I said, is sort of eh. And Krylon, I've had hit or misses with the Krylon sandable primer. Sometimes it actually sprays really nice and smooth and it sands well, and sometimes it just doesn't come out of the bottle at all very well, and I just kind of get fed up with it. Now, if you're painting just statues and you don't paint or customize like as much as I do, a lot of guys use the primer out of the Vallejo surface primer. That stuff is good, but it's very tacky and it's not like sandable. So you can see the difference in yellows of hair. So Harley's is lighter, and she's more of a dirty blonde. But I mean, if you like Harley hair to be more yellowish, I mean, you can, you can throw more yellow in there. But I like her to be a little bit more platinum, so it's not as out of the can. It's a little bit softer, I guess you can say, for her. The camera is probably looking a little too white, but in person, it's, I think it looks alright. At least for this one. Harbor, yeah, I wouldn't. Harbor Freight Tools is good and bad. I think some of their tools for doing stuff like what I do around the house is good. If you're a full-blown contractor and you're working on houses day in, day out, I don't think their tools and products are that good. But if you're just building like some furniture in a house for like a weekend and that's it, their stuff is good. But their chemical stuff, I wouldn't trust. It would have to be a huge experiment to mess with it. But like I said in the past, sometimes you get what you pay for. So if you want to save an extra couple bucks, it might cause a lot of issues and be a pain in the ass. or sometimes maybe it works out and you love the product. I don't know. But for me, I'd rather get the duplicolor stuff because it's perfect and I'm used to it. Yeah, and just talking about my experience. I know there's a couple guys that love Krylon primer, and that's all they use. There's a couple other guys that love Rust-Oleum. Um, there's a couple guys who feel that they rather save an extra $5-7 than buy Duplicolor. Uh, there's some guys that live. When Jesse was making his paints, there was guys that would only use his primer out through the airbrush. So. We all have our preferences. I just have bad luck with certain stuff out of a can. I just like Duplicolor because I know I can prime this item in that gray filler primer in the garage. I could come inside, work for about 10-15 minutes, 20 minutes, and go into the garage and it's dried up and it's almost ready for sanding. And it's great for customizing. I can spray it, walk away, or hit it with a blow dryer, and then go and customize and work with it. So it works really well. So you can see all the gray primer that's on her, Works pretty good. Alright, with that being said, I'm going to paint up her undies, and I'm thinking of maybe doing her stockings now. So for the undies, I was thinking we should do silky white or silky very, very light pink white. I don't know what you guys think. What would look better? I'm thinking white because she needs some kind of white in her outfit. So I'm thinking for the bra and undies, white, silk white. So that's kind of what I was going for on this one. Outfit's on the top left corner. It's going to be black, red. Wait, no. Oh, it goes black, 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 red, red, red. So pretty much thinking silky white. Alright, so I guess we're going to do the silky white. So I just need to do a little trim and then airbrush it and it should work. I'm going to use regular Createx pearl white because regular Createx seems to be a better pearl than the the Wicked colors. I don't know why. I would have thought the Wicked colors would have been better, but for some odd reason the regular Createx pearl white is a really great pearl. I think I still got a bottle behind me. I'm pretty sure I do. use a little bit of gray in there. Gotta mix it up. Alright, so I didn't do a crazy trim, just did a little bit of a trim, so this way I could see where I put the silly putty. It's a little bit easier. Now in the past I did a brush strokes with this, and also the back on areas that's hard to get to. It creates a little bit of a texture, but we're going to do it with the airbrush this time. Only because the bra is showing this time too. I think on a past Harley, I just did it with a paintbrush. I just have an issue sometimes with silly putty. You can't see where you're putting it sometimes. So it's easier to do a little bit of a paint line to kind of help where it goes. So did you guys hear the rumor that Marvel is going to do a Young Avengers movie now? So how long have you guys been waiting to see a Young Avengers movie? I actually kind of laughed when I heard that on the video today. Oh yeah, I'm sure the movie's gonna be horrible, but it's just funny that they're doubling down on everything that doesn't sell. I don't understand it. It's kind of mind-blowing to me. They are giving us Silver Surfer, but it's a female Silver Surfer. They are putting and did you hear about the Fantastic Four? What the movie's about? Basically, it's about how Sue Storm is tired of keeping everybody together or something. It's all about Sue Storm. So, the Fantastic Four movie doesn't sound that good at all. But Silver Surfer's female in it, which doesn't really make sense. If you're going to, if you want a Galactus Herald, use Nova, Frankie Ray, because that's also the female Herald, and she's a popular character. But why make Silver Surfer female? It doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, I don't honestly. I don't know. Think Disney knows what the hell they're doing. I mean, look at the whole stock thing that's going on about that guy that wants to get on the board that has all those shares now. But Disney doesn't care. They just want to make stuff that doesn't sell. So I don't know what the hell's going on anymore. I'll say it to this day. MCU ended at Endgame. After Endgame, that's when the MCU was over. I didn't even watch Loki the last season. Did you guys watch that? Was it anyway? I haven't heard anything about it, so I don't know if it's good or not. I watched Loki season 1 and I didn't like it at all, so I didn't bother seeing this last season. So yeah, I mean, if people are not saying it was a really amazing show, it's like I don't even want to bother watching it. You know, only if people say it's really amazing, it's worth watching, you got to check it out, then I'll do it. Like you guys told me to watch Gen V with the boys, and I binged that, and that was actually really good. But as far as Marvel stuff goes, I have no love to even attempt to watch it. Starkey and Hutch? You mean the old stuff, Iceman? I watched that as a kid. Yeah, Christian, but the problem is nobody's buying it. They keep producing it, but nobody's buying it. All the people who were raving about it are not actually buying the stuff. Yeah, I heard Godzilla was good. I'm gonna wait for it to be online though. I'm not because I don't rush to the movies anymore. Oh, the old school '70s show. Yeah, I watched Starkey and Hutch when I was a kid. So I mean, if you want to watch an old superhero show, Greatest American Hero. Now that was a superhero show. We got to put that on your list, Iceman. If you want to watch some old stuff, Greatest American Hero. Oh yeah, the '70s Hulk, Greatest American Hero. All the old stuff was great back then. You know what's funny? I would say they should bring back the Greatest American Hero now, but it won't go over well because with the boys, everybody likes those. I guess now like the the deviant hero theme, but Greatest American Hero was just a comedy, but it was a fun one though. Even to this day, if I hear the theme song, I just got to sing along with it, you know. Columbo, Monk, A-Team. Yep, I watched all that stuff too. I mean, if you really want to get into some good stuff, MacGyver. Now that's a great show. MacGyver. Oh my God, I think that was the #1 show I'd watch as a kid. I did not miss an episode of MacGyver. Yeah, that's you just can't get that theme song out of your head. I was talking to my friend the other day about it actually, and I told him, I go, "Do you remember the female? I forgot her name, the actress that took over the suit." He goes, "No." He's like, "No female ever took over the suit." I go, "Oh yeah, there was an episode, and I think it was kind of like a spin-off. They were going to try to have her run with the show because I think the main actor, they were getting a little bored with him. But I think it only lasted one episode, if I'm not mistaken." And I think there was like only one episode where he actually could use the suit correctly because he actually what was it? Because it was an alien suit. They gave him the book, but then he lost the book again. Oh, but yeah, I love that show. That show was great, man. As a kid, you know what's funny too is every time like I'm on Instagram and you know you scroll through all those images and if you click on comic book stuff, you always get cosplay girls. I always laugh when I see a cosplay girl in the Greatest American Hero outfit. It just cracks me up. Texas Ranger, yep, that's one too. I also, if you really want to go into some, well, I don't know if you would like it, but Unsolved Mysteries. That was like, that was the old school of mysteries that were never solved and stuff for TV. Because now the internet, there's tons of YouTube channels where they have unsolved mysteries. But I used to love that show, man. I also found out that they brought Quantum Leap back, but it failed. I'm like, you can't do Quantum Leap in this day and age. That Quantum Leap show was, I was actually shocked they brought that back. Oh, you watched the new Quantum Leap Trail? Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking on that. Hercules? What show was that? I don't think I remember that one. Yeah, the original Quantum Leap was amazing. I heard that the one episode when I guess you're not allowed to talk about it on YouTube where he took over the kid with the Down syndrome. I heard that they said they're taking that off the air now. They won't rerun that episode anymore. Just like they took out 3 episodes from Seinfeld. Yeah, a lot of the old shows, certain episodes are being axed from watching on. I mean, if you have them or you buy the DVDs or whatever, you can watch them again. But if you have it like streaming, they're taking a lot of those old episodes out. 'Cause they are offensive. You guys are too soft. Yes, it does, Iceman. There's actually nothing out that I've been watching. I haven't even watched any movies in a while. Um, what I'm addicted to now, as I found on YouTube, is Reddit stories. There's a channel, I forgot the name of it, but it's about malicious compliance. And people tell their stories of how bosses tell them to do something and they do it and like the business goes under and stuff. So I've been listening to a lot of those videos while I'm working during the day. And it's actually some funny stories. If this stuff is true, man, bosses screw themselves over. Yeah, the old stuff's good. The new stuff is crap. So that's kind of why I trying to find some interesting things on YouTube lately. Just trying to find some new things and trying to find different YouTube channels. I don't think they're gonna sell. I heard that Warner's gonna merge with Paramount. Hollywood is just doing bad. I mean, Hollywood across the board, it's just everything that they're making is just garbage. So they're not making any money anymore. Um, so which is good because I'm glad people have finally woken up. Because I remember growing up in the '90s into the early 2000s, I had friends and relatives that would worship like actors and actresses and singers. Like whatever a singer said on like the radio about you need to vote for this person, they would be like, oh, he's my hero. But I think a lot of people woke up to all their crap. Like nobody listens to them anymore, you know. So well, Warner Brothers. The reason why Warner Brothers is doing so bad is because AT&T owned Warner Brothers, and AT&T did not know what the hell they were doing. They were just giving out, they were just telling people, okay, make this movie, make that show, write that comic book. They didn't care what people were doing, and they were letting people hire hacks into Warner Brothers and DC Comics, and that's why DC and Warner went to hell. So then, basically, they lost all that money, and Discovery bought them up. But Discovery's got a lot of, you can't fix that crap overnight. You figure it's been what 15, like 10 years, 15 years of AT&T screwing up Warner Brothers and DC, so you can't fix that overnight. So Discovery's got a lot of work ahead of them, and sadly with the strike and all the other stuff, it's. But you know, at this point, like Hollywood's done. Like there's not even music anymore. There's no movies. There's no music. There's nothing. So for DC, I blame AT&T. I don't blame Discovery because they came into this and it was just a mess. But AT&T is what ruined DC big time. Like I heard, like if you go to Marvel and you get a license for say Spider-Man, they give you a Bible, which they give you a PDF or a book of Spider-Man's Bible, and you have to read the Bible and you have to follow the whole entire Bible of Spider-Man, of how he acts, what his every eye color, everything. I heard DC when Discovery bought Warner Brothers and DC from AT&T, DC Comics does not have a Bible on any of their characters. So I heard DC has no Bible, so that's why DC writers are making shit up left and right now. Because they don't have a Bible to actually follow their characters, which I heard is a complete mess. I heard Zaslow went into the DC office and says, get a Bible on all these characters done. So I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what I heard. MacGyver was ridiculous, but Iceman, you have to understand, a lot of kids followed MacGyver stuff in the show, and they were making that stuff. There was a lot of news articles and stuff about MacGyver that kids were actually following that stuff because a lot of that stuff in MacGyver's show is legit. You know, mixing certain chemicals and stuff. It is legit, and kids were following it, and holy crap, it was a shitstorm. So that's why they wanted to get MacGyver off TV, because it was teaching kids on what to do. Yeah, yeah, Joseph. AT&T was basically they just let people do whatever the hell they wanted. So people who were activists were hiring their friend activists, and they were pushing out all the old creators. Because they claimed that they didn't want to pay those high prices anymore. So they got in all the activists in, and now it's just, it's crap. So. Nah, Marvel and DC, unless. I don't think it's ever really going to come back because all the old guys are moving on. Like Jeff Johns came back for DC to finish up a Justice Society of America series, but then I got an email from I think Kickstarter that Jeff Johns is starting his own like Kickstarter book. So I guess he's done writing for DC now too. So. So all the old guys are gone. All the old guys who knew the history of the characters are gone. That's the problem. All the new people don't know what the hell they're doing. They're just making stuff up. That's alright. I still got all the old stories I can reread and enjoy. So, I'm not worried anymore. I'm not fighting it. It's like... I've come to the acceptance that it's all done. It won't ever be the same. They're trying to say now we're in the platinum age of comics or something. It's better than the golden age. I'm like, no, it's not. I think that's what they're claiming. All those writers in the comic book industry are saying now comics have never been better. I'm saying, well, in the 90s, they were selling 2,000 copies, 200,000 copies of issues, and now they can't sell 15,000. So I don't know how it's better. Demolition Man? They changed him? I don't think I've ever... I only saw the movie of that. I never read the comic. I think everyone does that now, Wells. See, I would, if comic books were back like they used to be back in the, you know, early 2000 and the 90s, I would have a pull box again, you know. I would actually support the damn comics and enjoy buying them and reading them again. But that's not happening. I used to have a pull box. I used to spend anywhere from $50 to almost $100 a week on comics. Every Wednesday, pick up my books. Yeah. $50 to about $100. I had one guy that was spending anywhere from $150 to $250 a week on comics. And you're talking, and that was around 2001, 2000 era. Of course, you got a lot of comic books back then. Yeah, I heard the X-Men, it's going to be all females now. Yeah, I saw a video on that. Yeah, 90s books aren't really selling that well. Well, I mean, I sold mine, but I didn't expect to get, you know, you gotta understand the 90s books, there's so many produced, it's not like they're rare. So you're not really gonna get crazy amount of money for them. Christian, what kind of stature or model are you doing? Acetone will eat certain resin though. But if you want, you can buy, I mean, acetone's the best stripper there is. I mean, I've never had a problem with acetone stripping anything. But the only problem is acetone will eat, you know, like a casting. Like if you cast up a hand or something with two-part resin, it'll eat the resin. Polystone, it doesn't really eat it, but it will if you soak it too long. But it won't, like, eat it right away. But I'm asking, like, what kind of model, though? Is it, like, a anime kit? Is it a production statue, like Polystone? Is it something you got casted, you know, like, at a show? Acetone eats everything. I haven't met anything yet that acetone really couldn't eat away. But the only other thing, you can get is nail polish remover. I can grab the bottle. So, for instance, let's see. You can buy this nail polish remover from like whatchamacallit. Walmart. Certain nail polish removers do have acetone, but this one here, it's only different colored because I've been using it over and over. This sort of does take away certain paints, but it's not as strong as acetone. Think of it as like a watered down acetone that's made for your fingers, but acetone itself strips everything. But I use this for certain things that I know I don't want the acetone to eat. Like, you know that, Alright, so if it's an item you printed, what I would do is, do you have any failed prints? If you have any failed prints, what I would do is I would spray it with some primer, right? Let it dry for a couple days, and get yourself some of this Equate nail polish remover, and see if this will strip it down without destroying your print. Because acetone, to me, I think will eat those 3D prints like nothing. So I'd be very careful with acetone. But try this stuff. The only reason why I got the lavender scent one is because that's all they had that day. So I picked up a couple bottles. They do have some other ones that are acetone free and stuff, but this one that I've gotten, it was the best one I've used out of all those from Walmart. So you could try this stuff. Alright, so I do have a regular bottle of Createx Pearl, and I find that this pearl is better than Wicked Colors Pearl. Alright, I'm probably going to leave you guys in a second, then I got to reset the camera. Alright, so we'll do a Wicked Colors base first. Just Wicked Colors white. All that masking just for these little spots. Alright, before I add the pearl, I have a light gray. So I want to do a light gray in some areas, just to give it a little bit of a shadow. Try not to just do pure white and then that's it. try to give it a little bit of a very, very light, but at least gives it a little bit. Because pure white just kind of acts. Sometimes it just doesn't look right. Now the only thing that the only thing I don't like about Create Text, even though this says no, this is just regular airbrush. Yeah, I thought it was auto air for a second. Create Text paints, you got to sort of blow dry them down to kind of heat set them, because even though this has been sitting here on this part for a while, see how like it's kind of like stretchy? It's kind of like rubbery. So Create Text is always sort of like stretchy and rubbery for some reason. Hey, what's up, Rukin? Alright, so this is just the pearl. Yeah, it's just a just regular Createx Pearl White is a really great pearl. So if you guys want a good white pearl, it's a good one to get. Sometimes doing 2 layers helps as well. The only downside with Createx is be very, very careful not to overspray and thicken up, because when you go to pull off your masking, Createx is very, very thick and you'll get that like peeling. So be careful about that. That's the only downside with some of the Createx paints. They don't like, they pool in the edges per se, and it kind of creates that thick little glob when you pull off your masking. You know, like harder paints, like enamels or some lacquers. Like when you go pull off your masking, it'll sort of crack like an eggshell, but Createx sort of stays there like a rubbery glob. So try not to spray too much, like really thick on those masking areas. Now it's really, really shiny. So if you don't like your item being too too pearl, you want to tone it down a bit. You can kind of hit it with the flat varnish. I'm gonna put a couple drops of flat and a couple drops of satin to sort of kind of dull it down a bit, but not much. This way it still has that silk, but doesn't really like scream like just pure like, you know, like a pearl just jumping out at you. Alright, so I think that looks pretty good. See, now when you go to unmask it, if you didn't overspray it, it should come off okay. But sometimes if you're not careful, it'll cake up a lot. And I also found that certain Createx will crack. Like when I say cracking, so if you see over here on the Silly Putty, it's not really cracking or anything. But like pure white from Createx, not the Wicked colors, it'll start cracking over here. And it's kind of like a really shitty paint. Yellow, red, and white from regular Createx have always cracked on me. So that's why I don't buy regular the colors of Createx. But the Wicked colors seem to do better. I think Createx is just sort of like a cheaper paint for like hobby stores. So just be wary on those. And the reason why I did that perfect masking around this area, because with Createx, if you leave it like there, like if you leave your Silly Putty here, and you spray heavy, you'll create a line going across there. So that's kind of why I masked off the whole entire area. So if you do have any little bit of raised peeling, if there's any little raised, let the Createx dry a bit for a day, and then go in with one of your tools here and sort of take it off a bit. Certain paints will dry hard enough where you can crack it right away, but Createx is soft, so if you try and do it, you'll start peeling it and you'll blend it. It's kind of a mess. Just give it like a day or so to kind of dry. But that's pretty good for there. Did I no, so yeah, it's a little, so I might have to go in there with the paintbrush and sort of clean up the edges a bit. Yeah, I think that'll look good. See, what time is it? 5:30. Yeah, I think we can paint up 7 of 9's body, because I have to do trim. I have to do all the trim now around Harley's outfit, and that's going to be a pain in the ass. I gotta find some time to do that. I don't feel like doing it right today, so I'm going to be a little lazy. But I think I could get away with doing her outfit today. Her hair is pretty much ready to go. I always do the eyes at the very end anyway. But we could do a little trim around her neck, mask it off the head, and we can do her body. Because her body is all one color anyway, we could kind of get away with it. I probably should set it up on a piece of wood, though. Where's that one piece of wood I had? Hold on. Where'd I put it? She's set up on here. It's gonna be a pain in the ass to paint her on the car. I mean, on the chair. Okay, if I put on another block, I can get away with it. We'll try. What color are her eyes anyway? Do you guys know? Are her eyes green or blue? Or what are they supposed to be? See, Hanger, now that you said that, if I think about it, I'll start shaking. Like, when I don't think about it, I'm okay, but when I start thinking about it, I start shaking. So, it's a good thing you said that after I'm done. Also, the paintbrush I have right now is really shitty, but it's got like a curved tip at the moment. It kind of like, it's really hard to see. So, because it's kind of like curved at the tip, it's actually easier to kind of get into the corner. It's weird. So sometimes a shitty brush actually kind of makes it a little easier. Nah, it's fine. It's I gotta kind of. That's why I get in the zone when I work on commissions for people. So when I'm actually streaming, it's a little bit difficult. But when I'm actually like just working on my own, I just don't think about it and I just kind of go and get in the zone. I definitely don't have the steadiest hand. I've seen other guys that can paint and they have those long tip brushes and they can kind of do it from like nothing. I'm not that good. Blue eyes? Okay. I'll have to remember that when I put in the decals. I think when I get to that age and my hand is shaking too much, that's kind of when I'm like, okay, I'm done with the hobby. Hopefully that doesn't come anytime soon. Either I got a couple more years to go or an asteroid's gonna come and take out the planet, one or the other. I probably should have changed the filters in my airbrush booth. I forgot to do it today, so I'm probably going to get some kickback on this. Oh well. Yeah, whenever I airbrush, if I notice that when I spray and stuff starts to come back at me, I realize that it's time to replace my filters. And I meant to replace them this morning and I completely forgot. Yeah, so whenever I'm starting to get a kickback of any kind of dust, there's two things going on. One, my filters are clogged, or the vent outside that has those flaps that I put into the garage, those are clogged. So whenever I get sort of a kickback, I know it's time to replace stuff. And lately I've been spraying and dust has been coming back into my face. So, and the reason why I did this is because it's in the winter time and I've been priming in here sometimes. And what happens is the primer clogs up the filter faster. So I've learned ever since I built this booth that specific things that start happening, it's either the filter or the thing outside. Because I replaced the filters and it still was kicking back in my face and I couldn't figure out why. And then I went out to those, because I put two little screens in that little flap thing that I put outside in the garage. And that got clogged up, and that's why I had to do that. Usually when the filters are brand new and everything, I get no dust back in my face, so that was a clear sign that it was going to hell. So it's probably going to happen now. The booth in the garage works great, but with the winter, it's like, do I really want to sit there and heat up the garage for spraying an item down in 5 seconds and, you know, put the heater? I try to, in a winter, I try to put everything in one shot and try to get everything going together. So alright, so her outfit's got sort of a bluish tint. So this is metallic blue silver from AutoAir. I don't think there's a lot left in the bottle, but I'm going to use some of it so you can kind of see it's got like a bluish tint. So I'm not going to use this as the color, but I'm going to use it to mist into it. But we're going to do a metallic base on her. So this is what's going to kick back in my face probably. But alright, so this is Tamiya, I don't know, whatever the hell you want to call it. I go Tamiya, whatever. This is chrome silver. So I'm going to do chrome silver as a base. If I could get the bottle open. No, I don't have a Christmas tree. I don't do Christmas lights or anything. Too busy and lazy to do it. By the time I do it, it's like Christmas Day, so. I'm a Grinch every year. I'm not a holiday person, per se. I'm not a birthday person or holiday person. I'd rather just, if I'm gonna take a time off or do something, I'd rather go to like a comic book show or do something I want to do. Holidays, I don't care. Not my thing. Yeah, the Tamiyas, I don't use them very often, really. I stopped using these, so I really don't care if they go bad on me. I think the only two colors I use are pretty much the titanium gold and the chrome silver. Most of the other ones are kind of dried out by now. I gotta throw them away. Alright, let me close my door and put my mask on. Because you might see some dust. But the funny thing is, if this gets a little dusty, that actually helps the outfit. Okay, now, one of the things that's good about this chrome silver is if you let it dry enough, it sort of dries fairly fast, but you can actually start to see errors on here that are actually sandable. Like if you use like Createx, like if I use this Createx like right out of the bottle onto it, and I saw some of these errors that are jumping out at me now, I wouldn't really be able to sand them for a couple days until this really cures. But this stuff actually cures pretty well, and I'm actually seeing some stuff now that I need to correct. But I don't think I'm going to correct them now because I'm seeing like there's a spot here that I need to fix. There's a spot over here I need to fix, and there's a couple other spots I need to sand down. So I'm going to actually let this sit, and I'm going to correct them another day, and then we'll come back next time and I'll detail it up. But yeah, I'm seeing a spot over here. That's the only downside with doing like a Createx shiny or like a Tamiya like chrome silver like this. You actually start to see errors jump out at you. So like when I used to do this for like the Harley Quinns with the candy right over it, I would see a lot of scratches and stuff I would have to correct and then do the candy coat. But now a couple things are jumping out at me I'm going to have to fix. Otherwise, if I don't do it now and then I try to do it later, it won't work because I need to do a really good like speckling and texture and all that. But I really want to correct some of this stuff, so yeah, I'm going to have to fix that. It's kind of, you probably don't see it in the camera, but there's a spot here, a spot there, a spot here, here. There's something over here. And if I don't do all that, it'll just look really, really bad. But now that she's all like shiny up, it looks pretty cool. Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, it's that's the only problem. Like sometimes I do this stuff, and then you think you get everything with the primer, but then when you put something like this on there, you start to see a whole bunch of stuff jumping out at you, and it's a pain in the ass. But I'll get it fixed. I'll have it ready for next stream, and then we'll definitely get in there and fix it up. Because what I'll do is I'm gonna pull off the masking. I don't want this to sit overnight. But yeah, I'll get it all ready. That's just how I work. Sometimes I get into something and I start seeing a whole bunch of issues. Yeah, that is a problem with chrome and like metallics. You think that you have it buffed out and it's ready to go, and then once you hit it with that stuff, like a whole bunch of shit just jumps out at your face, and it's a pain in the ass. And since she is completely like this silver, you know, color, there's just stuff jumping out at me now. Because now now that it's drying a little bit, because this Tamiya goes on fairly thick. I'm actually seeing some scratches up around in here. That's pissing me off. I got to get those done. So, but the good thing though is, once this dries, if you see some stuff that you really need to patch, you can use some of the Tamiya putty and you can fill it in and sand it down. You just really need to let it cure a bit. So that's why I've actually used Tamiya chrome silver and titanium gold as actually a base coat on certain colors, because sometimes when I prime and I'm ready to do something, and like say I need to go over it, I'll actually do this silver and I'll actually find an error, and then I could go in there and sand it down, and then I could paint over it and it works. So sometimes I do use this to find errors too. So, and I'm actually seeing a lot of it now. But yeah, that's just sometimes when I paint and do stuff, so, you know, you think you're ready to go and then you start painting and something jumps out at you and it's just, you gotta fix it. Plus I just broke my mask and I also need to change the filters because it's dusty in here. You know what, I'll bring it over to the other camera, and maybe you guys can see a little bit better what I'm talking about. Because sometimes things work and sometimes they don't. Have a good one, Hangerbird. Have a Merry Christmas. I might stream before New Year. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how next week goes. All depends on if I'm busy or not. But I'm going to close up the stream pretty soon once I just show this off. So I don't want to grab it because sometimes you can leave your fingerprints if it's still a little bit wet. But it might be hard to see. There's like a little part over here. There's a little bit cut and scratches around here. I mean, a lot of this will like disappear once I do my texture that I'm planning on doing. But there's a couple scratches right here on their shoulder. There's a little bit of arrow over here. I want to kind of fill in with some putty, and then there's a little bit of a eave sticking up over here. I want to clean. Maybe a spot right over here. A little bit of a spot here. Like this, some of this stuff will never jump out at you when you do like regular paint, but because we hit it with this silver, it's coming all out all over the place. Yeah, so I'm gonna let this cure up, and then I'll have it ready by next stream. And maybe what I'll do too is I'll have the underside of it painted too, so I don't have to worry about trying to flip it. I'll have a better setup too. I'm gonna probably lock this down on a piece of wood or something, nail it down, and make everything easier. But, alright, that's what I'm going to call it. I think that's enough for one day. So, thanks for stopping by, guys. Have a Merry Christmas. Like I said, I might try and stream next week before the New Year, but I might not. It all depends on how it goes with family and the week. But if I don't, have a good New Year, and see you next time.